In the attempt of being proactive, from this episode on, MaJaMa Jams begins to tackle topics that are important for society, the environment, and the planet itself, trying to give audiences worldwide a balanced point of view on specific subjects, in a new series called, Are They Vital? Today's episode, Cars, Are They Vital? Yes. This has been the first episode of MaJaMa Jams, Are They Vital? MaJaMa.
Mother?
Now, son, take it easy. You'll probably go through the roof when you hear this, but this is your mother talking. David, I've come back.
Oh!
David, be careful. You'll break your collarbone again. Are you all right, dear? Oh, you cut your forehead. What does it take to convince you it's me, Mom?
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. And guys, here we are once again in our favorite little spot. We are underneath the table where those tiny scraps fall. Things that aren't full movies. Not full-length movies, but gosh darn it, do we want to discuss them. We're looking under the table. Look at that, it's a scrap. That's what's happening metaphorically,
Ow!
but literally. And today you're probably saying, Jay, do you have a good little nugget to dive into? I think we do.
Or probably today they were saying, why don't you do episode 100, you stupid lazy bums?
You know, if anyone was emotionally invested enough to say that other than our beautiful Paulo, I would like to send them a $50 gift card to the Cheesecake Factory and a virtual hug. So if you have said that, comment below. We want to love you.
We've said that. Can we get the Cheesecake Factory gift card?
I just want to love you.
I didn't think things like this were possible.
You may remember a chunk of episodes back on the old Scrappity Scraps, Mateo finally wanted to unveil to us the friendship-long teaser of a failed sitcom from the 90s? Called Meego.
Oh, yes.
Who are you?
I'm Meego from the planet Marmadan 4.0.
Okie dokie, Meego.
Okie dokie, Alex.
Starring Jonathan Dip Nicky,
Lick nipples.
Jonathan Dick Lips Nipples, and of course Bronson Pinchot. And that was a pretty wacky sitcom, but I think we may have it trumped today because we're reaching into the past to classic sitcoms of the 60s. And as soon as I say the title, you're going to see what a wacky thing this is. Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't, but it is My Mother the Car. Now, I was very excited to watch this today. We've watched one episode previously.
No, it's all right.
It's not the one we watched today. We watched two new ones, but this is one of those times where you're kind of just happy something exists. Now, in fairness, like I said to Meego, I think sitcoms have a habit of playing out in the tropes that are established as such. So, to be fair, I don't know if the actual language of this sitcom is as wacky as the premise, although I could probably retract that for the second episode, which really seems the height of sitcom absurdity.
Okay, that does it.
Yes.
Kind of some great late season 8 Full House bike thief type absurdity going on. But we're going to get into it. We're very fast about this. We watched two today, and one of them has a very iconic person, especially to this gentleman over here. I think he might even have a picture with him. So, Mateo, this is your wheelhouse here. You're the one that introduced us to us. Why don't you tell the people at home how the hell My Mother the Car happened? It's weird, man. Tell them.
Indeed.
Those people. And those.
Somebody pitched it and they say yes.
Good night, guys.
MaJaMa.
I mean, yeah.
Well, you're not wrong, Mateo.
Of course not.
Not only one season, but two.
That's what fascinates me, because for God's sakes, it wasn't a full season, but the Geico caveman got a sitcom. So a sitcom
Yes.
existing is not a big deal.
There is even
But-
a sitcom with Hitler.
What did I do now? Oh, tonight you were making schnitzel. What a jerk! You must be real mad at me, honey. I'm a very, very bad Hitler.
It didn't fly.
I think you've showed us that.
Probably.
So, you know, weird, wacky, I can't believe they exist sitcoms is not that big of a deal, but the fact that this got 2 seasons mean at some point in an executive boardroom, someone was like, hey boss, the numbers on my mother, the car are up, let's go ahead and sign off on number 2. And this has about 5 full discs, so it's a little, plentiful episodes.
That's all 30 episodes.
Okay, so 15, about 15 per season?
No, I think there was 18 the first season and 12 the second.
Okay, so a little bit of a truncated season.
Mom, you said it, I didn't. If you came back to help me, now's your chance.
So, basic story here is that, and forgive me if I'm forgetting the first episode, but
Jerry Van Dyke...
His mother dies?
No, Jerry Van Dyke goes to buy a car.
She's already been deceased.
And, yes, and all of a sudden he finds out that in this place where they're selling all the used cars or new cars and everything in the middle, this old 1928 Porter, which does not exist, it was built for the show.
Oh.
Even if there was a Porter company, but it has nothing to do with it. This one was built by Barris, who is the guy who famous for modifying cars and building for Hollywood. He built the original Batmobile of Adam West. He built he built the car from the movie The Car, which has a protagonist, the car. It seems pretty.
So I see.
Also, don't forget that the house they stashed that car in has some pretty good steaks. In the Porter house. Steaks.
Yes.
It's a food joke.
Yes.
Anything you say, dear.
So, Jerry Van Dyke, Mr. Crabtree, needs a car. He goes to this.
Dick.
He's the brother.
Okay, I thought as much.
Brother Dick Van Dyke.
I bet you're related to Dick.
I hope not by the brother. And I think that sadly he passed away already.
Jerry?
Yes.
Before they started filming?
Yes.
Whatever.
And he finds out that this car is his mother reincarnated. As the opening credit says,
everybody knows in the second life we all come back sooner or later.
The opening credits, thank you,
that.
is a great example of...
the
well, like you were saying,
Let's get it out of the way and just...
There's many explanatory theme songs. Gilligan's Island tells the whole story. I think it's a little weird to have people watch that every episode. Like, if it was 5 seasons in, is it going to start with, there's a mother in the car? But
well, I guess you're always hoping you'll get new viewers who are like, what is the show about? The mother is what? What?
Because the title is so complicated.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that it does... The second episode we're going to talk about does get pretty wacky. But I do feel like the basic tropes end up being kind of sitcom of its era. I just think it's interesting that, as per your pitch thing, someone pitched my mother the car. I'm just kind of genuinely fascinated that that wasn't seen as a weird risk. It almost seems a little more 80s wacky sitcom-y. It may sound stupid to say, but doesn't it almost seem like they weren't ready for something so surreal in the 60s? I don't know. It seems weird to me.
It's very strange. As I tell you, 2 years later, the end of the show, Disney did the Love Bug.
I thought we'd run over to that new restaurant in Marin County. Have you gone bad?
Which is alive.
Right. Same. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Same kind of.
Only that it doesn't talk.
But is Herbie supposed to have a spirit possessed by him, or he's just alive?
We don't know,
They never
except for
established.
in the TV show they were saying that. I mean, that they made a TV movie of Herbie called The Love Bug, with Bruce Campbell of all people, and they
recently.
Made, I'm sorry.
Recently.
It always blows my mind when he says that.
I think it's 97. I think, and they tried to do because.
An accident happened. My most prized possession, a photo of my beloved Elsa, fell into the mix. Now, I realize this is not very scientific, but I believe that the powerful feelings I had for her were somehow transmogrified into the metal itself, making it possible to create a living car.
So her goodness had been transferred into the car, which is a guy, because in Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, he falls in love with the Lancia.
Oh!
He's out of his mind.
He's out of his mind, all right. over that luscious little launcher.
So he is the male guy in the situation.
It could be lesbian cars.
Oh.
Everything he just said is why.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
You're right. He was right. If they tried to not say somehow Palpatine, to be like, well, guys, let me sit you down for a quick second. Everyone could take a knee. Hope you got a minute, Rebellion. So what happened was some metachlorian counts mixed into the activator, and then Palpatine's spirit was in, and then people were like, what?
Or maybe you tell the story gradually over 2 movies, so you don't just dump it all. And
Probably.
This was a movie?
No.
I'm talking about the first 2 Star Wars.
I know. I got the joke.
Yeah.
But yes, that's actually no joke. That's why I suppose that. Well, refresh my memory. What is the pilot? He likes the car, and then it starts talking to him.
Don't do it.
He randomly
Don't do it, Mateo.
He randomly picked the car that his mother is in.
No, it's fate. You idiot.
He is going to look at the cars, and as he sits into this old jalopy.
What does it take to convince you it's me? Mom!
You sound like my mother. You can't be. She passed on back in
August 23rd, 1949.
How'd you know that?
I was there. David, I am your mother.
Now, the opening credits state that the mother chose to come back as a car.
But believe it or not, my mother did decided she'd come back as a car.
Why? How does that work, and why does she do that?
That is a very good thing. Also, because in one of the episodes, say, why was I?
Why did I have to come back as a 1928 Porter? Right now, I'd settle for being an Edsel.
MaJaMa. Can anybody come back like this?
Well, most of us don't want to. As a matter of fact, the application bin is usually empty. But I came back because you need help, son.
Also, isn't reincarnation for? I remember. I know Rod.
It's not for the whites.
Rod Serling.
It's not for the whites.
Is in the 50s, but I remember Rod in an interview talking about an episode of Lassie where they showed puppies giving birth, and he thought it was a wonderful way to teach the kids about birth. And then there were angry letters about how dare you show that, which, you know, you got to think of the time period is mind blowing. But my point is that
showing it being stretched out like that, it's just gonna be graphic for the kids.
did you really need the close up? Don't you think cheekily stating the concept of reincarnation in your credit? Am I off base here? These things seem revolutionary for the 60s,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Like, it almost feels like someone would be like, sir, I believe in one God, and I do not think we come back, and your sitcom in the credits has told everyone that reincarnation...
Especially because one of the part of reincarnate is carnis, which is Latin for flesh. So when you reincarnate, you are reborn in the flesh. So being reborn into a car, granted, it has leather, but...
You are right that it says she chose this.
What I wouldn't give for power steering.
But how, like you're just floating in the ether, you don't really have a consciousness or an ability to...
It's like a Black Mirror episode. Let me out. I can't take being in this consciousness.
All right, you have a choice. You can come back as a squirrel, as a 1928 Porter, or as the Titanic. Choose.
Pre or post sync?
Again, we did 2 episodes today for you guys. Yes. I think they're both pretty stellar, actually. But the second one is where I think the wackiness really comes into play. I will say, see if you guys agree, I think our first one, again, kind of it's the old trope of let's show them what Hollywood's really like, and they'll be like, oh, you're disillusioned with this process. But other than the mother aspect, it kind of plays tradition, like remove her, and it's almost like, okay, it's pretty straightforward. So I get that your show doesn't exactly play out as absurd as your premise does.
Are you all set to go?
Yeah, just take me a minute to get dressed. I learned all my lines, so I stayed up till 2.
Oh, that reminds me. Forget about the old script. Everything's completely rewritten.
Completely rewritten? But why?
That's showbiz.
But it's very complicated if you think, relatively speaking, but still.
Let me take my notes.
No, you have, like, for instance, a sitcom like Happy Days. You have the Cunningham, and Fonzie is a crazy splinter. Fonzie was not supposed to become one of the protagonists. He was supposed to be a satellite character, but he became so popular they decided to move him on top of the Cunningham garage in the second season, so he was interacting more with the family.
I rented the apartment.
To who?
Fonzie.
But all this interaction was happening either in the vast majority of the time in the Cunningham house or at Arnold. So they were all people. Even Mork and Mindy, where he was an alien, it was still humanoid, or human, actually.
You really are from out there.
No, actually, I'm from out there. You see, out there is not a nice neighborhood. I wouldn't even go there during a total eclipse.
So the situation was interacting like this. To do a sitcom where one of the protagonists lives in the garage, it's not that easy to find storylines that can actually always comport, say, hey.
Don't forget, we also probably 10 years prior, we had Mr. Ed.
Little old lady leaves cat $50,000. Oh, that's silly.
What do you mean, silly?
What's a cat gonna do with $50,000?
Well, he won't have to chase mice in his old age.
That's true. He could buy himself 40 or 50 cows, have a lifetime supply of milk.
That cat's got security.
We had Mr. Ed, but still, it was coming into the kitchen. It was kind of living in the house through the window and stuff.
Also,
but it's true, yes. It's
two things. One, I think talking animals has been a trope since the times of biblical sandals.
You weren't around. You don't know.
But also, Mateo, where
I'm a talking animal? Yes.
Where is Mr. Ed on the talking animal human
and on
timeline?
the spectrum, not the homosexual one. The
Yes.
Wilbur, I can reconstruct a painting of that landscape after just looking at it once.
I think that before...
With hooves? Jesus, you are talented.
I'm not 100% sure. Here is a little fuzzy because it's... Mr. Ed, almost we don't know of it in Italy. We know more of Mr. Ed because we see sometimes movies from the 80s where they're watching Mr. Ed, then actually in Italy we saw Mr. Ed.
Do you believe it existed, though?
Yes, I believe in horses. But there was also Francis the Talking Mule.
Of course.
And
which was on the same show?
Back to back. No, it was the popular leader.
That was a series of movies with Donald O'Connor.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, and 2 enemy patrols approaching.
Look, come on, let's go.
Oh,
Aren't you coming with me?
No, I've got to untangle this mess you made. Give me that hearing aid. Come on. Oh, hello, all units.
And I don't know which one came first, the egg or the chicken or the horse or the mule.
But it is very close to the genesis of that massive trope.
Yes, because...
What do they put in the mule's mouth?
Probably the same thing they put in Mr. Ed's.
That much dick?
Yes.
They put dick in Mr. Ed's mouth to make him
Ella
speak?
Young's dick. That's why he was talking always with a high-pitched voice. A true story.
There's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way.
Hello, ASPCA. They're doing what? What? That show is popular.
So at least they are in the same frame.
Okay, goodbye.
Animal spit took.
I know this.
Perfect.
But if you remember, even in at the end of Hellzapoppin, there were the 2 dogs, the bear who says,
you missed me. You need glasses. Can you imagine that? A talking bear.
So,
yes.
The idea...
Hellzapoppin was before everything.
Yeah, that's 41, I think.
Oh, my God.
Hitler was still alive.
Remember we talked about the connection? Mm-hmm. What an interesting episode.
Yes.
Go watch your episode on Hellzapoppin, episode 3. Seriously, if you love this stuff at all, episode 3, Hellzapoppin. We love that movie.
You're going to stick by that story, huh?
It's not a story, Barbs. It's a truth.
But there were all this, like I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, this supernatural. They were showing things that you. Happy Days is grounded to. It's plausible. This one isn't. Gilligan's Island isn't. Bewitched isn't. Mr. Ed isn't.
You make a good point about the
What's
Bewitched
supernatural about Gilligan's Island?
and Genie.
Sorry?
What's supernatural about Gilligan's
It's
Island?
not supernatural, but you would think that a group of people who can build a bunch of stuff on an island are still stuck in that island for some strange reason.
They had monkey slaves, though.
That's true.
They did most of the work.
Yeah.
I want to go back to civilization, but ain't no one back there sucking me off like this monkey slave is every day.
I heard it on Mr. Ed. The horse is doing some stuff. Monkeys, come here.
I wouldn't let them do that to you, Mom.
Thank you, son.
Well, you make a good point that Bewitched and Genie, which I believe are both 50s, correct?
Probably a little later, but I think that is around this
Before,
area.
okay, but they are supernatural for all intents and purposes.
65, 66. Okay.
Almost the Summer of Love. So for that type of time period where Dick Van Dyke had to worry about not actually being drunk and having a hypnotist make him act that way, that's kind of the perspective I'm bringing of how this, again, the humor that the sitcom runs on is not necessarily that, but almost as a pitch, this almost feels Adult Swimmy, which didn't come around until the 2000s.
It's kind of, but if you think about it,
conceptually maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Not necessarily in execution, but
yeah.
Again, like Mateo's joke, someone pitched and they said yes. So that's what I'm saying. Someone pitched the mother is going to be stuck in a talking car. I don't know.
She's not stuck. She is.
This car is my mother. I know you're going to find it hard to believe, honey. I did too.
One thing that is not mentioned whatsoever.
Where the vagina is.
That for once, yeah. I wonder when they're pumping the
Why is
gases.
their car bleeding?
Exactly.
Yeah. Every 4 weeks.
Is the tailpipe the butt?
Yeah.
If you remove a wheel, is that like her leg?
We got some script notes on the pilot episode here.
Where?
Just a couple of lines highlighted. Is the tailpipe the butt?
Like how much,
why is your car bleeding?
How much could you separate of the car and still keep the mom? Like if you replace a bunch of new parts, how much of it is her, or where is she located? Is there a brain?
Is there
a soul?
It was the question at the end of The Love Bug when it snaps in half, and yet it still goes. And you say, okay, how can the two parts, are they independent? Are they still the same car with the same energy, vital energy or something?
The little car takes first and third place.
It's never been explained. But in this one, they went away completely from... I mean, there is the concept of reincarnation, but it's not biblical. It's not... They never mention God. There is never mention a soul or afterlife or something. Just like, I came back as a car. Deal with that.
Oh!
That's it. That was the whole premise of the show. It's not something esoteric or something like that. So there was that choice.
Well.
MaJaMa. Oh, I can't get over how this town has changed. All this smog.
No offense, but you're not helping matters any.
Shift. Ooh! Did you ever think of using the clutch?
I'm sorry. Does it hurt?
Only when I accelerate.
All right, so let's get into our two episodes. The first one, we have the classic character gets sucked into the Hollywood machine. His neighbor opens the episode
I
by...
wish we got sucked into the Hollywood machine.
Or sucked
by the Hollywood machine?
That too.
The Hollywood machine sucks.
The neighbor comes up to say... Frank Tryptophan, his neighbor...
Real dick, man.
Comes up and says, hey, your car is an eyesore. I have this petition to get rid of it.
Why is a petition on a scroll?
Yes.
Like you're writing your name's giant too. It's not even
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. A lot of good 10-cent wordplay in that one exchange, though. A lot of good 10-cent wordplay.
Yes.
Look, Ernie, is it all right if we don't chat for a little while? I have to rehearse for a coast-to-coast TV show.
A TV show? What program?
It's a commercial for stops on a dime breaks.
That old thing, stop on a dime. It couldn't even get over a dime. To coin a phrase.
Very funny, Ernie.
So he says, we want to get this car out of here. Then another guy comes up and says, hey, that's your car? That's an old blah, 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 blah. Porter. That's an old Porter.
Well, then what were you doing under my car? Checking the brakes. There's nothing wrong with my brakes. They're marvelous. A 1928 Porter with the original stops on a dime brakes. Wait till New York hears about this.
With the original brakes, and we represent stop on a dime brakes, which I don't know if you guys knew this. I did not know that phrase came from literal interpretation, because now they say, hey, we want your car, and you, as our spokesperson, you're going to stop on a literal dime for a commercial and cue the sitcom, you're going to get a taste of what Hollywood is and be disillusioned, although again, this is played very, even Family Matters might have like a, Saved by the Bell, like the guy that's hot shot that's supposed to be doing anti-drug, but he smokes. This is very drama-free and straight wackiness.
But the thing that I like about that episode is that for being 1965, it was vaguely meta.
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's kid actors.
The kids
I
say...
hate kid actors, yeah.
I hate kid actors, and then the father repeats.
Yeah, but what about all those words I'm supposed to?
Oh, your children have volunteered to say them for you, so don't worry about it.
Boys, one thing I can't stand is kid actors.
The fact that the director says you guys are not typical, you have to change them with real actors. So it's weird that it was already something trendy almost 60 years ago.
I very much like the switching backgrounds gag. It just, again, it seemed like a good sitcom-y wheelhouse.
I've got it. It's the room. It's not authentic. Bring in the French provincial.
Authentic?
Yeah. But now the people look phony. Bring in the Spanish Gothic.
The mother is... That's okay. I actually think we picked two good episodes, almost inadvertently.
You didn't pick them.
Mateo picked two good episodes, almost inadvertently, because the first one, you could almost say the mother... That's very funny. It was not inadvertently. He picked them specifically to facilitate this great discussion you're now viewing on the YouTubes.
This one?
So...
yes. No, don't worry. Nobody watches it.
Okay.
So... Our first
really
episode, you could kind of say that the mother aspect is relegated to the side. It's mostly about the Hollywood machine coming in and the wackiness of that. We get a little bit of her controlling the car, but not really. In fact, now that I think about it, it's almost like My Mother the Car is the name of it, and we just have a classic like Hollywood trope.
And the thing that one of the reasons why I picked up these two episodes, because we were talking about it, is that it shows how back then and sometimes to this day, they play the rules as the episode unravels. So in the first one, when it has to stop on the dime, surprisingly, is him, who is Mr. Crabtree, who has to drive her.
Okay, Mom, you all set?
Let's go, son. Davy, you all right?
I think you stopped a little bit short of the mark, Mom.
That was my next question, Mateo, about the
Whereas
whole thing.
in the second one, it drives by herself fine, and it even chases the car with the three...
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of my main questions of how they play it. I forgot of if does he ever drive or his mom controlling the car?
But does that mean he has more skill to be able to control the car to stop it on a dime versus her?
That's the thing. You would
skill
think
to drive herself.
I don't know, because
Isn't she magic?
Because when the mom corners the killer against the wall, she seems to be pretty handy with the doors slamming.
Yes, yeah.
She flips.
Quite handy.
Quite handy. And so...
This is very 90s. I know you're going to make the reference to the 70s and then Now You See Me, but this is very 90s Disney straight to DVD almost, right? Like the scene of the car coming up to the thug. It's so...
I think we're just looking back and like, wait, mid-60s? You guys were already out of ideas? You have to go to a reincarnated car?
I don't know what it is with people, really.
But you look at other things of the time period and it doesn't seem that far off.
Hey, Jerry Van Dyke's brother, Dick, did Chitty Chitty Bang Bang a couple of...
I just love these two seasons. I just love that there was two seasons.
Yes.
But that was a talking car?
No, but it was a car that was flying, it was going on the sea. It was,
so the first season was a big enough hit for the companies
Plus
to say...
18 episodes seems like a lot, or is that standard fare for the back in the day?
I don't know.
They kind of jump around with the standard
yes,
number.
yes.
I was having this discussion just the other day, even with modern TV episodes.
I mean, nowadays it seems like 8.
Now, usually there are 10. The average, it seems there are 10
So we had
episodes.
18 for first season, 12 for the second.
Yes.
And they truncated that a little bit. I wonder if that was due to lack of, like, oh, we know this is dying?
Sign right here.
See, people are not flocking to see My Mother the Car.
That's what I find so interesting is that, like I said, at some point in history, in some boardroom, at some TV station, there was a discussion saying that, you know what? The numbers are pretty good. We're going ahead with season 2 of My Mother the Car. That is, I could do that whole episode, this whole episode on that moment. But I won't, because we're going to keep talking about the first episode.
Plus we didn't see it.
So we have some adorable gags with Moon the dog that I actually really liked.
All right, you got the part. But I want you to be natural. Go on, you're in the scene.
Scene stealer.
I kind of liked all the gags in this episode. The little meta
Let's
digs.
just get to the second episode, which is a ridiculous plot.
You know what? Matthew's right. There is stuff, but for the first one, guys, you pretty much get a sitcom movie. Like I said, the mother of the car is almost peripheral. There's some fun little gags. It's wackiness.
The mother is the car?
But
what?
Episode number 2.
Are you ready for this?
Which, right, take away the word inadvertently because Mateo did specifically pick this one. Now we have some movie royalty, an iconic villain from an iconic long-running series. I am talking about Jaws. Not the shark, Mr. Richard Keel.
Would you like me to try it? Women drivers.
Quiet. Watch this.
Cut to picture of Mateo getting his head almost squeezed off by that loving madman. And this was actually the perfect episode to facilitate a discussion on just how wacky this is. Matthew, why don't you break down all the different elements that come together for this one?
Right.
What's the main plot that kicks off this family sitcom from 1965?
So they're dropping the wife and kids off for a flight at the airport, and when he's kissing her goodbye, the mom overhears 3 thugs plotting to kill Chief Gubu, who's president of the rainforest.
Yes, he's president for a fictitious Central America
Somehow
country.
Chief Gubu, who's president of the rainforest, is the most racist thing that's ever been said.
So the mom's like, hey, they're going to kill him. Do something. So he's like, oh, okay. So then,
Wait, describe our thugs.
One is massive. Actually looks pretty handsome.
They're very handsome.
Compared to how
Again, maybe you just only know him as the metal mouth, but he looks like a really handsome dude.
One is Deep Roy, and the other is
generic gangster from yes, exactly.
Well, he's even saying an Al Capone type or something. What's the reference he uses? He says a midget, a giant, and a Buster Keaton. No,
Big Tracy. Maybe.
No, not just, what the hell is it? It's what are famous gangsters around that there? Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy?
No,
we're close.
Edward G. Robinson or Jimmy Cagney.
No, it's not. It's none of those. Yes, absolutely, but yeah. Well, the funny reason.
Stay tuned for this cliffhanger.
Because they make that the joke. She says a tall giant, a midget, and a whatever type is. Humphrey Bogart. All right.
Well, then who'd she tell you is going to do it? A giant and a little midget and a Humphrey Bogart type.
Survey says.
You've been drinking too much antifreeze.
So we got our 3 hitmen. The mom says, hey, they're going to kill the president.
So he tries to call the police.
Reggie sounds insane just talking this out loud.
And the police chief comes to his house but starts talking about how since there's been a lot of Latin American immigrants immigrating to the country, everyone's calling the police because they think they're all thugs and gangsters.
Why don't people just go about minding their own business and leave all the police work to the police, huh?
And then the guy's like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm not going to say the same thing. Never mind. Thanks.
Oh, it looks like it's covered. That was our word.
Thanks for coming by. And then
I mean, it's more that he's worried he's going to get killed. Just so they know for sure.
But then he sees on TV the 3 thugs with the president. So he just says,
"Yeah." This is like if Full House. No joke. What I'm about to say is meant to be funny, but this is like if Full House did an assassination attempt episode. If Full House, exactly as it operates, didn't exist, Joey has to stop an assassination attempt.
Does seem fairly extreme.
Yes, but he arrives handily in front of the president.
Yes,
he knocks at the door.
Walks in
while he's doing a
with the old fake press hat.
With thick feeling indeed.
Oh, Mr. President. Excuse me, Mr. President, I have to talk to you. It's very important. There's been a threat on the...
Well, this is all pre-9/11, so everything was kind of open.
Oh, yeah, very true. Dressed...
My mother in the car got a lot more realistic post 9/11.
So he tries to warn him, but he doesn't believe him. Eventually, the thugs capture him, tie him up, beat him just viciously. I mean, it's not all done off camera, but still, you can see the bruises once they cut back to him. So the mother tries to go to rescue him. The little guy is the first one to be like, oh my God, the car talks. It's actually his mom.
How did the car find out? She was listening.
She?
Yeah, the car's the guy's old lady. It's his mother.
Perfectly understandable. The car's the guy's mother.
That's natural.
He believes it. Jaws doesn't, but eventually does get cornered by the car.
He's called Crank in this episode.
Crank?
That's a good
Crank.
name. That's a good name.
He eventually leaves too, tries to convince the other guy, the Randy?
Probably.
Randy's the son, I feel like.
You don't know that.
I think I'm right.
What's Jeff
Bezos?
Dick? Jeff Dick? What's his name?
Yes, Jeff Dick.
Who?
The dad.
Oh, Jerry Dyke.
Jerry Van Dyke.
Jerry Van Dyke.
Mr. Crabtree.
Mr. Crabtree. He gets into the car and they drive off. There's a little chase scene where they're actually firing a gun at the mom. They shoot her in the ass, muffler, bumper, and then the dude's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna try to kill an old lady."
I never shot an old lady before, and I'm not gonna start now.
Will you stop with that old lady business? It's only a car.
So he pulls the keys out of the car as they're driving, throws them out the window.
I don't think it's possible to do that, but yes.
Yeah.
But don't forget, this is after she assaults Jaws.
Yes.
In that 90s Disney movie scene.
Hey, listen, lady, I don't believe in talking cars. Now, you don't talk, and I don't hear you, and you're nobody's mother.
You wanna bet?
Hey, watch it. That's my leg you're pushing on.
And then she arrives at the airport, hits the brake because the smaller one of the trio had a gun.
Yeah.
And it takes his sweet time to kill the president.
And he flies out of the
mom,
car,
hits
catches
on
a
the brake.
bullet in his guts, and then bleeds all over the president and dies on the tarmac.
No, I think that just like he saves him.
Oh, okay. He knocks him out of the way, and the bullet goes somewhere.
Good luck, Davy. My son, the human cannonball.
And nobody's
no one.
They're completely unfazed by the fact that somebody just
Yeah, there was no reaction whatsoever.
Not at all.
I like the gag of the mom coming home too and just be like, "Hey, honey, how was your time while I was gone? The kitchen's a mess."
Crack Grundy and Fish. Grundy, he's a little midget. They got this plot to kill off President Romano. He's the president of Costa Rica, only they don't know that I know about the plot. Well, right after I kissed you goodbye, I see this President Romano standing on television, and these three guys right behind him. Well, I knew I had to do something. So I dash out of the house, go down to the president's suite, get a wig, you know, a wig and a dress, and I dress like a maid, well, a chambermaid, and I put a thing over my arm, and I come in, and I say, "Hello, I would like to clean the bathroom." And the three guys are behind me, Crab, Grundy, and Fish. Grundy's got a fiddle, only it ain't a fiddle, it's a machine gun. I fell out of the car. I didn't fall out of the car. I went up in the air, right over the top, right into President Romano's head. I hit his head with my head. I saved his life. And that's how I hurt my head.
Now, what really happened?
I cut myself shaving.
Well, that makes sense.
Right.
MaJaMa. You worried about vandals?
Honey, there's car strippers in the area.
Oh, who told you that? Ernie Stewart?
No, Phil Durkin.
And who told Phil Durkin?
Ernie Stewart.
It's an innocuous series. It's a safe space, if you will, kind of like your Full House, where you know that even...
You can toss out any goddamn idea. They'll take it.
Yeah, one that, and two, you know that all the, even the thugs are, okay.
We do the usual, Richard Keel ends up breaking down in another thug's lap, so
Yes.
it's, you know, again, the house guest thugs, where Joey is just a big galoot. But yeah, just the fact that the possessed mother car stopped short so that her son, who's still tied up, can fly through the air with the speed of a Major League fastball to smash into a visiting president from Mexico to stop the midget from shooting him down from the thing.
He's tied up too. He would have no sense even try to brace himself or break his own fall. He just crack his head open on the asphalt.
Plus, the flight
She
that he
don't
has
care.
to do from when she stops to when he lands must have been quite...
Yeah. And then you know the president has brain damage now, so he can't
Oh,
run
absolutely,
anymore.
absolutely. So, yes.
The jungle's going to reclaim the country. It's over.
Boy, I felt like a complete fool, Mom. Let's forget the whole thing.
I don't know, maybe it does all work. It sounds insane as you talk it out, but maybe it's just good sitcomming.
It's one of those...
I mean, trying to prevent an assassination is pretty extreme for any sitcom.
Already for the second season.
Yeah.
They were talking
I mean,
about...
damn, they're quick. You want to dig into these real world issues.
They were talking about, Fonzie jump a shark.
There he goes!
Yeah, they do. There is an international plot of killing a Central America president, and it's so yeah. They went 0-100 in 2 seasons.
I do like to imagine people sitting down and watching that episode live. We're actually meant to ask the most obvious question: is this pre or post Jaws for him, for Keel?
Oh wait, pre. Jaws is Spy Who Loved Me in 1977.
About a good decade before.
Yeah. Don't forget,
he doesn't look too
Humanoid.
freakish.
No.
Was
he
he
seems just like a very tall guy.
Maybe that's because exclusively of Jaws. Maybe he's just like you said, just a tall guy. He's kind of handsome.
He has done a lot of.
Trying to reach the green from here, shooter?
That's not possible, sir.
I beg to differ. Happy Gilmore accomplished that feat no more than an hour ago.
Well, moron, good for Happy Gilmore. Oh, my God!
He's been in several movies and.
But was Jaws what made him a star?
Jaws is what
or was
made
it this?
Well,
ain't you the guy from the assassination episode of My Mother the Car?
No, he was the Humanoid. That was the one that made him a star. Yeah, we watched.
Wait, wasn't he one of the dudes in
the movie, the Italian Star Wars?
With the melted bear baby?
No, that was the prophecy.
Was Richard Keel one of the guys with the human cookbook? Or do they just have that same face?
They molded it off of his face, yeah.
Dude, he really looks like him now that I think about it. Is
yes,
it not?
does.
Holy crap, it looks just like him.
I think a lot of really tall people have that cranial structure. Yeah, it's terrifying.
I just realized now that the cookbook episode of the Twilight Zone, those aliens look exactly like Richard Keel.
That's him.
Yes!
We come from a planet far beyond this galaxy. A planet far more developed than Earth, but we come as friends. Although we know your language, our own methods of communication are mental rather than verbal.
Sorry, I
didn't mention this. Yeah, so he's been working. So Jaws was almost late career. Okay.
I have his autobiography, and you don't do an autobiography if you've made 2 movies. Well, you do, but he had a very long, illustrious career.
Just walk down the new book section of Barnes & Noble. She starred in the CW sitcom for 2 minutes, and now here's her story in a hell book.
Drew Barrymore wrote her autobiography when she was like 15 or something, because she was after E.T., Firestarter, and a couple of other movies. She was already addicted to alcohol and drugs and stuff.
Uh-oh.
One of the jokes that Bill Murray did on, I think, SNL 40th anniversary or
You're thinking of Bernie Mac.
Yes. When he sang to her, "Don't Go Chasing Waterfall."
Oh my God, look at the profile on this one. Runs in the family, huh? Could you turn off my mic for 1 second? We're so glad you cleaned up. Mic back on? Mic back on?
Apparently, she was courting him for Charlie's Angels because she was one of the producers, and he didn't want to do it.
Does he want to do anything?
I don't know. So that's why they say, he was singing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfall," as in "Don't come after me," and then he was saying that.
Bill's kind of a look. You'll find no one on earth that gives the nod to his comedic talent on screen and what it means and the iconicness of it.
Yeah,
but he's kind of a giant douche nozzle. Huh?
Yeah.
We all love Bill so much, and it's like he's kind of a douche.
Yeah.
Right? And never in a million years would I deny the man's on-screen talent. Every time I see him on a movie, I'm like, I should never try to be funny again. He's amazing. It just translates Ghostbusters to godly, blah, blah, whatever you want to say. I'm right there with you. But it just seems like he's like him and Harrison. They just sit around like, I don't want to do anything ever again. I don't want to hear a fan talk to me. Why would I want to talk about being Peter Venkman or Indiana Jones?
Fans can't talk.
True.
Pans can't give kisses. So Richard Kiel was working for years.
You're obsessed with this dude, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's a great moment in entertainment history that there's a My Mother the Car episode where he's a thug that's trying to kill someone and he gets assaulted by a talking car, so he ends up in his partner's lap crying. It's great.
Obviously, it's affected his reasoning.
It's the genesis for movies like House Guest. Crying thugs that aren't actually tough. Full House thugs. We come back to my favorite topic. It's those Full House thugs.
Are there any other notable, famous celebrities who starred in My Mother the Car?
Yes.
Do you know their names?
No.
Okay.
At this point, I absolutely blank completely on some of them. But there was a recurring character whose name will appear here.
Oh, he was in it?
Yes.
And actually,
and
the creators followed this up the next year with My Sister-in-Law, the Moped. I genuinely ended up laughing at my own joke.
Were you dirty?
I wanted you to, though. Why didn't you laugh, man?
That's funny.
But the gentleman I was mentioning is in, among the other things, is in...
Fire!
Oh, good shot, Dick.
Come on, move it, move it. Here we go.
Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop! You there! I demand to know what is going on here.
Read it and weep. Hey, what up with that?
It was one of those sitcom at the time that they were using name actors. And Sothers, who does Southerns, who does the voice of
the voice of the mother.
He's the voice of the car. She got Oscar nominated for
this.
No, she was Oscar nominated for the Whales of August.
I have been driving since 1910 and never had an accident. Oh, well, maybe a little bump when the examiner told me to back up. But what's a little bump, I ask you?
Oh,
In
God, even just the
1987,
title.
I think.
God, even just the title, I can just picture
Are there
it,
whales
right?
in it? I bet there's not.
No, it's like a
Of
metaphorical
course,
thing
yeah,
about
God,
someone's dying
no.
of cancer and trying to reconnect with their sister or some shit.
Something like that.
Ugh.
But two things that I
Could you pitch me the idea with less disdain in your voice?
Two things that I wanted to mention. One, the car is fantastic. The car is great.
You said that, so that car does not exist.
No, it was made based upon a Model T, the Ford Model T.
He doesn't know cars.
Oh.
He's what you would call not a man.
When the Model T broke down, what would they have to do to get it to the next station? They'd have to push a T. Neither of you get that, but I had to say it. I'm sorry.
I
Don't
get
worry
it.
about
Not laughing, but I get it.
Was it a reference to?
The rapper Pusha T.
Okay, but it's a reference to a specific line from Kendrick Lamar.
All right.
See, he
Calm
doesn't
down.
care.
Specificity
That was for
doesn't
you.
matter. For who?
I don't know, someone...
I have the power of the cut.
You mind?
And I have to say, which is something that surprised me immensely, for being a silly sitcom from about 60 years ago, it looks great. The transfer of the episodes,
pretty clear, crispy.
It's great.
Yeah,
they're great. The colors are a little faded, but is the style of the cinematography of the time.
And also, we should say, very, for all the talk about the weirdness, very cozy and comforting. Like with the first episode we watched, which we didn't do for this one, what happens if they all have to sleep in the car in the garage?
The house is haunted.
Is that what it was? No,
there was somebody who wanted to steal the car.
So the whole family ends up sleeping in the car in the garage in the middle of the night, pulling blankets over themselves. It's very cozy. We love that episode. I was almost going to do that again today, but I was like, let's watch something new. So, as much as we've talked about how weird it is, like I said, it does kind of follow this traditional sitcom mechanics. It is looks crisp, looks cozy, nice nostalgia from that old white picket fence times.
It's one of those things that, yes, they are innocuous. You know, that it's the equivalent of a Disney movie. You know that everybody's fine. There's not gonna be any drama or something. It's just like
someone could have gotten their head blown off though.
True.
For God's sakes, it's a political assassination. I mean, I just sometimes I get.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to kill a political figure for a power move, like, how are you gonna like change of heart? Be like, oh, I think this car is possessed by the guy who's trying to prevent this assassination attempt from his mom. I'm not gonna shoot the car, so I'm pull the keys out of your car as you're driving with me in the passenger seats.
Look, she's a nice old lady. She could have hurt me, and she didn't.
I'm telling you, it's a car. Now get that gun and shoot.
Look, she's somebody's mother.
What are you doing?
On our way to prevent this, so we can.
The president of this phantomatic state is talking at an airport, and I can drive up to him with my car. No, there are probably 10 people around.
Like, oh my God, he's driving through the barricades. Get out of the way, he's crazy. It's just like, oh, we're just driving up. But there's no one around him. Who's he talking to?
There are 4 or 5 journalists or something.
Maybe it's just a photo op.
It's possible.
He is standing on top of the car.
Okay.
It's like when they did it at the Four Seasons. The freaking tire changing place. And Giuliani had the press conference because they booked the wrong spot. It's the same thing.
It's just great. Oh, bye.
Sometimes I feel like I get stuck on existence with things in entertainment, and I just like thinking about the fact that this exists. I like thinking about the pitch meeting. I like thinking about where they showed them the numbers and they said, we're bringing it back for season 2. And I like thinking about that guy.
Lucky Jerry Van Dyke said yes.
Well, that's another question. Is this all you had?
No, he has done a lot of it. And oddly enough...
But like compared to Dick?
For your consideration.
Jerry, happy Thanksgiving. I'm very glad about the sitcom with your mother in a car, but compared to Dick...
He was more a TV actor, yes. But apparently he turned down Gilligan's Island. And
the Gilligan role?
And I don't know what, probably. And then
maybe the professor. I can see him as the professor.
I hope not the blonde girl. Although, in a wig, he looks like Steve Martin.
Maid service. This is very urgent.
Yes, yes.
So it's very sexy.
Oh, dude, we get the classic dressing in the maid trope like in Paddington.
And
Connect.
And a personal secretary or assistant who is a maniac who physically undresses her. We know that is a man, and so it's fine. But for the 60s, a scene like that, it's...
what we're trying to say is this is revolutionary. People don't understand.
This paved the way.
Revolutionary for its time.
Because I remember when Hitchcock said, as in my mother the car. Before doing Psycho, he was I just watched the whole series of My Mother the Car.
Inspired. Well, should we pick our favorite line from these 2 episodes? It might be tough, but there were some juicy gems. I also like the gag about another shiny nose with the moon's nose.
There, all finished. Oh no, not another shiny nose.
And wet, too.
Because I'm always a sucker for a wet dog nose joke.
Who isn't?
Anyone have one off the top of their head? I'm trying to think.
My favorite is not a line, but is the opening credit song, which is also the closing credit song. It's the same one.
Yeah, sums it up nicely.
Yes, but it's catchy. It puts you in a good mood, and it sets the tone for the whole.
Oh, I like the in the first episode where the little boy's like,
This stuff itches. And he's wearing lipstick. Quiet.
Sandy.
I want to go home.
You are home.
Sometimes there's jokes. We talk about this with Full House. We laugh at Full House, but sometimes I feel like there's jokes that...
We laugh with Full House also.
...sound funnier than they are. And yes, that joke was really, I don't know, it was very nicely delivered. It was almost caught you by surprise. I might go with that one too. Although, like I said, I like the, oh no, not another shiny nose joke for Moon. Because it's very cute, the idea of powdering a dog's nose.
That's a thought.
Well, I'm actually really glad we did this one, guys. I don't know if any of our audience knows about Mother the Car, and by that I mean, Paulo, did you know about My Mother the Car? It's pretty wacky, but enjoyable. maybe we'll start covering other lesser-known 60s sitcoms.
And maybe we'll do also a 100th episode eventually.
Still a little while away, though.
I don't feel like it, though.
Yeah, I know.
Let's give it a good couple months.
Next week, we're going to do My Father the Tank with Steven Seagal and Jimmy Durante.
Where is the Christmas spirit? Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
That's
Singing.
God.
My Father the Tank with Seagal
Durante
in the tank.
would be a tank.
I'm sorry?
Durante would be a tank, just barreling, busting through walls. The friggin' Incredible Hulk.
I'm a tank. And how come nobody's singing? Where's the spirit of Christmas? Let me fire a couple of rounds.
Rupert was rough. It's like being locked in a cage with a wild animal, and they're like, we're going to agitate on purpose. Like, you're going to do what? You're going to start smacking this badger with a stick while it's in there with you. Why? That's what watching Rupert is like.
And I've had it.
So, guys, thanks for sticking around for another jams in the scrap section here, and we will be back next week and every Thursday with an all-new jams. And who knows what we're going to be covering, but it might be another crazy-ass sitcom. From our couch to yours, thank you for coming by, and that is a jam. No, see, I say, and then you say no.
I'm messing with you.
Oh. Because last time I think you said, don't do this.
Yes.
Yes.
Because this is only a singular jam.
Honk, honk. And we get done.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Bayou-badoo. 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 Bayou-badoo.